Okay, it gives you the answer to that one. We're going to do some of these questions at the end of the chapter so that you can sort of have a review over what, some similar questions are. So this one gave you the answer before I could click on the large. But this says, which animal is not an invertebrate? So if you look at this logically, an invertebrate does not have a backbone. Well, lobsters, they have an exoskeleton, so it's not them. Cicada is a locust, and of course we see their molts on trees all the time, so it can't be them. Earthworms, they don't have any sort of vertebral column, so it can't be them. A shark does have a vertebral column. It's made completely out of cartilage, but he's considered to be a vertebrate. So your answer is going to be shark. All right, our next one. What is the tough outer covering of most invertebrates called? Well, we know it's not mesoderm or endoderm. It's not going to be an endoskeleton because that would be inside. And so I think we all know our answer is A, exoskeleton. All right, which statement is not true of animals? Animal cells have cell walls. Animals are heterotrophic. Animals probably evolved from early protists, or animal cells become tissues. Which is not true? Well, we do know that animals are heterotrophic. We do know that animals probably evolved from protists because protists are our last living organism before we get to the animal kingdom. And we know that our cells do evolve into tissues. But animal cells do not have cell walls. That's a big difference between us and plants. All right, our next. From which organisms might animals have evolved? Animal-like bacteria, autotrophic invertebrates, colonial protists, or multicellular fungi? Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to think of this. Did we evolve from animal-like animal-like bacteria, autotrophic inverts, colonial protists, that means the protists that stick together, or our multicellular fungi? Which one do you think it is? Now, the reason it's colonial protist is because if you think of the kingdom, always think of the kingdom right before ours. Fungi is not going to apply, but the ones that are the animal-like protist that live in colonies, the single-cell protist, they do have eukaryotic cells, so they are going to be the ones that we evolved from. All right, next. What is a group of cells that performs a specific function? Okay, everybody should get this right. We know it's not an organ, it's not mesoderm or a gastrula, so it's got to be B, tissue. All right, what is one characteristic of the most unique characteristic of the animal kingdom? Now, this is the most unique characteristics. So even though they might all be characteristic, we're looking for the most unique. So do you think that it is advanced cell structure? Could it be complex movement, sexual reproduction, or organ development? So think about those four things. What do you think is the most unique? I need to plug in the computer. Okay, your answer is movement. Now, I kind of said this before, but flying. We do have a very unique form in the animal kingdom of movement in the form of flying. And so there's a lot of different kinds of movement, but complex movement is probably going to be the most unique of all the characteristics. Okay, next. What is the term for an individual animal that produces both egg and sperm? So we know that this is probably not an acoelomate. That means you don't have a cavity. Heterosexual, invertebrate, I think we all know that it's hermaphrodite. All right, what form of reproduction produces a new organism from the lost body part of another? Is that going to be budding, a lost body part, fertilization, parthenogenesis, or regeneration? Now we know that budding is where a part of a sponge buds off and produces a new sponge. Fertilization is just the joining of the egg and the sperm. Parthenogenesis is when you have the female reproduces on her own. And then regeneration is going to be, you got it, lost body part.